overall shape of the car and how it's changed, you know, in this next generation. Now the car's actually a little lower. You know, it's about 12 mils lower. It's also about 50 mils longer. You know, longer. We wanted the design to be a little more expressive, and sometimes you have to let the design breathe and not work to just a hard dimension. And that. So the other thing that we did is we made the car wider. Wider helps the handling, helps the footprint of the car. It does have frontal area, but here again we offset that with the lower roof. And then if you'll notice too, the hood is a very powerful element of the car as well. And we wanted to make sure that we got the hood as high as we can, responsibly, you know, having good downward vision, but also giving our powertrain friends as much room to develop their intake and their horsepower requirements as well. So that was real important. With all that said, within this proportion, we spent a lot of time optimizing it in the wind tunnel, and that, you know, we did a lot to do these function features that you see here, the hood extractor. We've changed the orientation of this radiator from Corvettes in the past, where the radiator was upright and it leaned back as we got into bottom breathers. And that now we've got the Corvette doing exactly what our race car is doing, where the radiator leans forward. Then it has a ducted extractor through from the back here all the way down through these blades, and each one of these blades has its own orientation. As you can see, this one's a little bit more upright, and they start to lay back as you get towards the back edge. That's actually so that the air, it's not only a functional path, but it's an optimized path. And that's real important. You know, we talked about things being functional, but having the function optimized is really key in our world. And while we're at the front, you know, same thing with the front grille. You know, the car is a total front breather, no bottom breathing. We do that because it optimizes, it helps us reduce the lift in the front of the car. You'll see that, you know, we've got these kind of these splitter shapes sticking out here. These are functional for downforce to help us with Pet Pro regulations. But here it's taking one element that's kind of a criteria element and turning it into not only a beautiful element, but also a functional aerodynamic element. Headlamps are very key for the car, and we've gone now to a single bifunctional projector, and that which is HID, and that now also we've eliminated the fog lamp, and we've put in, we call it DRL, daytime running light, and this is actually plumbed through indirect LED lights. The LEDs are actually sitting. They're actually sitting horizontal, or I should say 90 degrees, and they're projecting their light down into the parabola, which is then aiming the light out for a real consistent hot white light signature. The turn lamps are stacked, edge lit, LED based. You know, there's an edge lit quality to these. It's very functional for cross car viewing. Also key for us was getting a black chrome. It's actually a black stainless plating on here, and that in certain light it'll look brighter, but here again it's a premium finish for the headlamp.
How much of this lights up with the ignition consumption?
What'll light up is the DRL, and then the DRL in a reduced form, and that you don't see the turn unless you're turning the car or whatever.
Okay, so it's not going to look like an Audi with all.
No, we got these very smooth. We wanted to avoid kind of that, you know, some people look at that as kind of a carnival light spacing, and that we really worked hard to keep the LEDs close together and diffuse the light so it's in there.
That sounds good.
Now this one, because the LEDs are stacked on top of one another, when you see this in front view, this will just be a hot rectangle of amber LED light. And the amber LEDs, you know, that's, if you start looking at LED usage, the amber ones are the toughest ones to get to because they're usually the most expensive. So that's where you'll see some cars will use them and some cars won't.
What is the dash to axle proportion compared to the last generation?
We've actually, that's a good question. We've moved the wheel forward another inch.
Okay.
So we're
how
just
many
under
inches?
1 inch.
1 inch.
So I think we come in at just under 107. I think it's 106.89 or something like that. So yeah, and you know, that helps. Obviously, you know, that gets the engine a little bit further behind that center line. And that. So we've been talking about a 50-50 weight distribution. I don't think engineering's released it, but I think we'll be there. We might even be a little bit better. We'll see when the final numbers are in. You know, and that's very key. Also, key element, as you can appreciate for any Corvette, is a side cove element. You know, it's part of Corvette's DNA. Now, this one what we did is we worked hard on not only getting a beautiful element, but also having a rich detail. This is painted a carbon flash black metallic. It's got a molded in color vent. And the vent is fully functional. We actually see a drag reduction with the air that comes out through the vent. Body side, you know, the big thing for us for this next generation was to have a new form vocabulary that we haven't seen on Corvettes before. And what makes this very striking is not only the drama, the depth, but it's the degree of full sections, hard edge. And what I really appreciate about it is the lines are kind of crossing over the different views, so that it isn't just, some cars you could argue are designed in the side view and front view. This car has elements that are crossing over, and it's really appreciated in kind of your rear three-quarter view. Corvette still has a removable top, but new for this car is you can get 3 tops. Here we're showing the premium top, and you have exposed carbon fiber. On the base top, this would be painted all body color, but it's still a carbon fiber top, which is very cool for a lightweight. And then also you can get this top in polycarbonate, which means it's all translucent. One of the details that we probably spent a lot of time aero-wise and in a different form, and we talked about being in the wind tunnel before, we do use a lot with CFD. These are not brake coolers, these are actually channeling air to your rear trans and diff coolers. In this opening here, again, when we talk about function, it's optimized function, and we had to develop this shape and these veins, and you can see they're kind of drafted in such a way where they get big on the top and they're a little smaller on the bottom. We want to stop debris from getting in there. And we had to get to a target of 8 cubic meters per minute to go through that. You think about how much volume of air that really is. So that's channeling it through a duct. And here you've got kind of a vertical heat exchanger on either side. And that one side is power driven, one side is a blow through. The air is coming out these vents, and especially these vents. In some views, you can even see part of the heat exchanger there. That was very key. And you know, to your point on the front wheel moving forward, you can see the car's kind of evolved to this more front mid-engine layout. As you know, as the wheels go forward, the engine comes back, and now you've got these midship-like elements back here that here again play up the architecture. The package you're looking at right now is a Z51 package. Z51 gets 19-inch and 20-inch wheels, also gets a very tall rear spoiler. The lift reduction achieved in this car is better than our current 01, if you can believe it. We thought we were, you know, walking on clouds with what we achieved in the 01. We get smarter as we go as far as getting lift off the car and getting the car more stable, more compressed at higher speeds.
Is there ever any thought to the split tail? I know that was a big, or the split screen, sorry. That was a big rumor for a while. Was that ever even a thought, or was that just purely...
Dennis, we looked at it, and you know, the down the road graphic. One of the things that we said that we thought we had to change in the car was the upgrade. You know, the car has had the basket handles consistently since 1978. And the basket handle's there so you have the removable top. It's a function of, you know, there's your structure, there's your removable top. But we wanted to keep that feature, but we said we've got to figure out a way to make this look different. So that's why we went to the side glass, introduced a quarter glass, which Corvette hasn't had since its early C1 days when they had removable hardtops. But we really felt the DLO shape is a huge design element, but also gives us that down the road, a block away. We wanted the side view to be more compelling. Well, when you had the strong buttress and the strong side view graphic, and then you added, you know, the split down the middle, then you kind of got this 3 straight back here. It made the backlight busy, hard to look out of. It just didn't seem right for this car. You know, and I could argue. You know, I know we hear people that want the split window or want some kind of detail like that, but you know, those 63 cars are very special for that reason. So, you know, in some respect, we like to keep them special. So and there's a part of us that likes to leave that element alone and let those cars be what they are. One of our departures was also the tail lamps. We continue to use the dual element taillight, which has always been a formula for us. Well, since '61, we were single rounds, and they were kind of an elongated shape. But they're still dual element shapes. We really felt that we needed to break tradition and have a car that's more distinctive and more appealing, more unique at night. You know, there's a lot going on with lighting technology right now, and you can see where manufacturers are doing even more and more to have their cars be seen or be seen as exclusive with a nighttime signature. And we really felt this is important. The technology here again is indirect LEDs. So the LEDs are horizontal, they're throwing the light down into the cavity for even lit appearance. We're trying to avoid having the spottiness or whatever. Also with the lamps being three-dimensional is very new for the car as well. But here again, you know, the idea was to put reach into the design. You know, when you think of the opportunity, every time you get to do a new next generation Corvette, you realize that, you know, there has to be certain calculated moves for it to be seen as a next generation. And like I said, that's why we felt we needed to make some of these changes.
So those vents, are those purely functional, or was that kind of partly for the look?
Well,
it's an interesting
both.
Okay.
Both, because you try to balance it. You know, and that's a very good question. Because you want a compelling design, you want a strong aesthetic. You know, and that's one of the strengths of Corvette. Why do people buy the car? Because they like the way it looks. So we try to do things where, okay, this gives us a new look that we like. We think it's very attractive. But if we can also benefit from some functionality into that, then it's a double win. And we like to do that with Corvette especially.